sky. I got necklace in the sky. Shawty telling me she What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I'm your host, Kojo, and tonight we have a very interesting topic that's been on my mind. It's always on my mind as a content creator. So we're going to dive into it. We're going to let people file in. Shane, shout out to Shane, the first person to comment. So it says social media is the worst. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons. And obviously, I'm here in front of you all because of social media. So I'm going to acknowledge that. But we're going to get into it. Go ahead and let me know where you all are checking in from. I see y'all checking in on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter. Let me know where you all are checking in from. Let's get started. Zavira, yes, you made it in time. You should be proud of yourself. I'm happy you exist. Sterling, I appreciate that. I like hearing those or reading those comments, right? You can't get too high on it, because when the hate comes, you might feel that. Really feel that. But I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Joe Tracy, I'm happy you can come through. I really appreciate that. People are checking in tonight from Chicago, Ohio, Virginia, Memphis, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Arizona, Cincinnati, Ohio. Shout out to your Bengals. Best of luck in a week or so. Josh, it's like that. Arkansas, North Carolina, Milwaukee, Detroit. As someone who's disabled with rare disease. Yes, there's pros to social media. We're going to acknowledge that. Like, without social media, this is not possible. Like, social media has changed my life. It's been one of the greatest things that ever happened to my life, honestly. Like, it's changed my life, and I'm so thankful for it. So I'm not going to completely dog social media, but we're going to talk about it. Michigan, Canada, Perrysburg, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Calgary, Texas, Jersey, Ohio, Delaware, California, Oklahoma, where I see your comment, Youngstown, Ohio, East Tennessee, Milwaukee, Reno. Okay, so we have a lot of people checking in from all over. Edmonton, Alberta, checking in from LinkedIn. Josh, I appreciate you. So a lot of people checking in from a lot of different places. And let's talk about it. Social media, is it helping or is it hurting us? And I was on the Zerlina show, Zerlina Maxwell. She's a host on Peacock TV. And we were talking about social media as it relates to, the teens. And there's a chemical that, was available on Amazon. And, teenagers were learning that you could use this chemical to, to end your life, and harm yourself. And obviously the word spread because of social media. And a lot of teens were, using this chemical to hurt themselves. And that's why I was in the show, Zerlina show in New York, to talk about that. And we're talking about whether Amazon has a responsibility to say something. And I'll post a whole segment so you all can catch that, because I think it's something that I'd like for you all to watch. So for my people on Facebook, that will be available for y'all to watch it in its entirety, at least my segment. But when it comes to social media, that's one thing, right? So, if a child is hurting and they're in pain and they realize that they can use this to inflict more damage upon themselves, the word's spreading fast, right? Because of social media. And, not to talk about everything that I spoke about on her show, but I was essentially saying that we have to counteract the negative information with the positive information. So we have to get a little bit louder and let people know, okay, if you're hurting, you're in pain, there's other things that we can do. There are people that care about you. So that's the way that social media can be good. So that's what got my Brianna Page. I appreciate you. I see that. Love seeing a strong Black man help with mental health. You gotta love the show. I love the show to Brianna. But for me, social media, let me tell you a little bit about how it's impacted my life, right? So obviously I'm here in front of you all. I get to do this, and I wouldn't do this if there wasn't an audience. So like I can see that at least almost 300 people are watching, I think on Facebook, maybe some more people elsewhere. But I know every night anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 views come on my live videos. I don't like that. I appreciate the platform. Have maybe like 2.4 million followers on all my platforms combined. So I'm thankful for that. Like you all have really changed my life. And that's why, like, I don't mind commenting. I don't mind posting. Like, I feel like I owe it to you all. Y'all have given me a platform to talk about something that I think is important. So I appreciate social media, and I'll tell my kids one day when I have kids, I'll be like, oh, I started this show on Facebook, and they went from here to there, and I started to do all these cool things. And your father moved from the East Coast to Los Angeles to pursue his dreams, and he made it. All this great stuff. I'm going to talk about that. So obviously, if you ask me, I'm going to probably say social media is very helpful, right? And I do believe that it's helpful, but there are some negatives to social media, and I think it's important that we acknowledge it. Because somebody like me, if you ask me, I'm gonna probably say, "Oh, social media is great. Like I love it. It's changed my life." Yes, but then I want to take you all back to pre viral culture, right? So let's go back to before I was viral, and just working your everyday hardworking, you know, American son of immigrant parents, and for me, I remember when Facebook came out, right? Facebook came out maybe late 2000s, right? It came out. It was a way to communicate with your friends. And that was cool. Like you add your friends here and there. We have MySpace, and you have like your little top 5, top 8, and then you have like your friends arguing. Put me as your number 1 friend, your top 3 or whatever. So we had all that going on, and that was like a happier time in social media. Like I enjoyed all of that. I enjoyed, the interaction with my friends. And then I think what really changed the game was Instagram. IG came out. When Instagram came out, I was in college. I was in college. Wendy, I see your comment. My condolences. I'm sorry for your loss. Uh, I was in college when I was, Instagram came out. And I remember that was a great way to look at pictures. And then not only would I follow friends, I would follow all these interesting people online. And as Instagram exploded, like you would follow all these other people and see what their lives looked like. And it, I mean, I think it was started off great. And I've never like stopped liking Instagram. Like I post on it all the time. I still have my same Instagram that I had when I was like 10, 12 years now, so I forgot what name I used in the beginning, but it was probably something that was cringy. But I think at some point Instagram became so powerful, and this is not a knock on Instagram. This is just humans, when you give humans so much attention, and and such a big, such a crucial tool that can change things. At some point, IG got to the point where you could see how people were living like anybody, people across the country, people across the world, celebrities. And you around like 2014, 2015, I would say that was the first time that I realized that like if you didn't have something, you knew that other people had it. And for some people that can lead to feelings of depression, in comparison. And for me, like I've said here before, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, Section 8 housing, food stamps, all that good stuff, right? And we were dirt poor, but we were happy as hell because I did not know that people didn't. I thought everybody was on food stamps, right? I thought the government gave everybody money to go. I thought everybody had an EBT card. I didn't know that people were like getting like every single gift they wanted on Christmas. I didn't know that everybody. I didn't know people were like living really, really good, right? So there was no awareness that people were living so much better than you. As social media began to grow, the Instagrams, the Facebook, whatever platform it was, Vine, Snapchat, you could see that people were living a lifestyle that you felt like, oh, I should live like this, but I don't live like this. And for a lot of people, that started to, make you compare. And for me, I remember, like, I'm at the point now where, as a content creator, I don't care too much about other people's opinions of me, but I do regard people's opinions and I see what people are talking about. I need to make sure, right? I need to make sure that I didn't post a video that was taken the wrong way or hurt somebody. But for the most part, like I'm secure in who I am. I do what I do. I put the information out there. If you like it, I love it. Let's rock together. If you don't like it, that's fine. It is what it is. But I remember there was a point where like everybody has a breaking point where you realize that oh my goodness, social media is affecting me. And that's what I want to talk about today. And after I finish this rant, I'm gonna, you know, get into you all's comments, because y'all are leaving some really, really good comments in there. I really want to get to it after I finish this story. But I realized that social media got to me, and it was impacting how I view the world when I was having a conversation with a couple of my friends. The year must have been 2015 or 2016, right? So this was a year, I was working my RN job at the psych hospital, and I was working another RN job as well, right? I was like 23, maybe 23 years old, right? I'm having to calculate. I was born in 1992. Yeah, so let's say I was around 23, 24, right? And I was having lunch with some of my friends, right? These are the guys, the homies, and they all post on social media. They all do their thing, and it was probably around this time of the year, like we're getting ready to file taxes, and it was like five guys at the table, right? We're having lunch, and they were talking about how much money they made, right? All of them made well into six figures, right? And then I had made the most money that I had ever made that year, right? And I hate talking about money online. Like there's certain things that I hate talking about online. I hate talking about money. I hate talking about relationships when it comes to men ain't shit, women ain't shit. I don't like that back and forth narrative. You know, uh, there's certain things I don't like talking about online, and money is one of them. So I don't like talking about money, but I need you all to get this story. So this is important. So this particular year, I had made $93,000, and I'm 23 years old, right? Keep in mind, I'm the son of immigrants. We came from Ghana, West Africa. We grew up on food stamps in Nashville, Tennessee. We never had anything. So a 23-year-old guy who was single, maybe I was dating a girl at the time, maybe I wasn't, I don't remember, but I was single, I had no kids. That's a success story. In what world are you making $93,000 a year, you're 23 years old, and you're not happy? But I remember I was sitting there with the guys, and we're talking, and then they're like, oh, Coach, you made six figures this year. I was like, yeah. I made 1 to 6 figures. I didn't give them a figure, but I was ashamed to tell them that I did not make six figures. And that's when I realized, how delusional have we gotten? Like, at what point do you have to sit there and ask yourself, like, whoa, why do I feel like I'm less than, and I'm doing good? That's good as hell. Like I had never made that amount of money before, but because of what I saw my friends doing, I saw they were running businesses. They were here. They were in this country. They were in that country. Their Instagrams looked like they were like popping. I was like, I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I was like on par with them. I felt like they were better than me for whatever reason. And it wasn't like they felt like they were better than me. I, in my head, felt like they were better than me. So once I realized that, I have to like take some time out, and I actually figured it out myself. I had to like take a step back, and driving home, I was like, why did I lie? Sometimes we're just capping for no reason. I was like, why did I lie about how much money I made? Like, who am I trying to impress? Like, I'm not even trying to impress like a girl. I'm trying to impress the guys. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So why am I trying to impress a guy here? These are my friends. They already like me. We already hang out together. But why am I comparing myself to them? Why am I trying to impress them? And then when you think like about that and you get to the root of it, sometimes you can attribute that to the social media. And that's why I think I see Rachel in here saying comparison is the death of, yeah. I gotta give Rachel a love of the show for that. And Sharon says, so true, you're honest. Yeah, so my thing is like, that's why I like this show. Like, I would watch this show before I watch something on TV. Like, I'm telling you all my true story, right? Like, this is a year I should have been proud of myself. Like, I didn't hit my mark and make six figures, but I made a lot of money. I was able to help my family. My grandma could go on trips. I was living life. But when I looked at somebody else's life, I felt like, damn, like I'd be happier if I made like $7,000 more, so that I could hit this arbitrary number, which makes me feel like I'm some type of guy. And that was my struggle coming up. And that's why I think it's good to talk about male mental health, because there's a lot of guys out there who don't feel like they're that guy because they don't hit a certain like benchmark. They haven't made enough money, or whatever, society whether you like it or not, though, judge guys based on how much money they make, how much value they bring. So as a guy, it can be very humiliating, and you feel like you're not worthy when you feel like you're not making enough to take care of your family, things like that. So not to say that my situation was awful, but just to show you all how comparison will get you messed up. And now you flip it to the other side and you take the women. I don't know who has it worse, and I'm not here to say the women have it worse or the men have it worse. But for women, I think it's difficult. Like if I was a Beyonce has that song, "If I Were a Boy." If I were a girl, I don't think about this too often. I promise you. But if I were a girl, how can you go on Instagram and feel good about yourself? Now you might be like really pretty, whatever. How can you feel good about yourself? You go on Instagram and you see other girls with BBLs and all this extra work, and then they're teaching you this gym tutorial where they're doing these little squats, and they're like, all right, this is how you grow your booty, all these things, and then you're sitting here feeling bad about yourself, not knowing that they went to go get surgery. Nothing's wrong with surgery. I fixed my teeth. I got Invisalign. So if you can correct your imperfections and you have the funds, go ahead. This is not a knock at anybody who's got work done, But social media allows you to present things in a way that it's like, oh, I hustled in the gym. I busted my ass off for this ass, right? Or whatever it is. And then you have a regular girl who's watching and she's like, damn, I've been doing the workouts. I've been doing the intermittent fasting. I've been, cutting out the processed foods. I'm waking up early, and she might not look like that person online. And sometimes that gap between where you are and who you think you could be if you were like them, that can lead to a lot of depression, and depression is not always like a chemical imbalance, at least I believe, right? Obviously, I know, we give antidepressants, try to increase serotonin, this, that, and the third. We have cognitive behavioral therapy. All these things I believe in. I think they're great. But sometimes just a comparison, it will make you feel like you're less than. And that's the discussion for today. That's what I want to get into. And I hope a lot of people will be helped out by this, but I think it's not getting any better because you look on Instagram, everybody is getting fancy. I mean, we're in a pandemic, right? So we know people have been struggling, working from home, getting laid off, getting a new job. But when I go online, people are balling. People are getting their third Teslas. And people are living it up, So I think it's time to talk about it because it's wild out here. It's wild out here. And Brett, I like what Brett says. We can only speak from the male perspective. Yeah, I agree. We are not I'm not an expert from the female experience at all. Like I do not know what it's like to be a woman. I can tell you what it's like to be a man. I can tell you what I've heard from female friends or female patients, but I don't know that experience as a woman. So I empathize and I want to hear from the men and also from the women what ways you think that social media can kind of trip us up, right? Because I want you to take away the main takeaway from this is that I think social media is good. Like it's changed my life. Without it, we can't do this thing right here. I have 2.5 million people that I can reach on any given day, and I can promote my message. Fortunately, it's a good message, I think. But there are some things that we have to be careful about when it comes to social media. So I want to know, like, what are some things that you should be mindful of? Pam says, no one ever shows their B-sides, only showing the greatest hits. Pam, I like that. Pam used to love this show. I completely agree. Nobody shows their failures, right? And I try my best to be transparent online. I don't like it when, I don't follow people, or I don't like to follow people who, it looks like it's too easy. I mean, that might not be their fault. But if somebody comes on and they're like, hey, dang, I've had a rough day, or, I have rough days too. Even the interview I was telling you all about on the Zerlina show today, like today, I was doing an interview off of this camera. And if you watch the interview, I felt like I was fumbling over my words in the beginning. And I have no damn idea why I just couldn't get my words out. And I was like people are watching this. This is on TV, so I had to get out of my head and just give myself some time to breathe, talk about the information. And I have to tell myself, Coach, you know What you talking about? Just breathe, just relax, you know. So after I got off that, I had my brother, you know, my brothers. We have a group chat, and I told him, I said, I was feeling anxious for some reason. I don't know why. I've been on that show before. I've been on Zerlina's show before, but for some reason, my words just weren't coming. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna try and figure out what it was. I just, you know, I seldom afterwards, but like I do my best to be like real. You know, like humans are just humans. That's all we can do. Lakeisha, what's going on? Michelle says, I think it gives younger women an unrealistic view of the world because everyone posts perfect everything, and likes on your pics is way too important and will slowly wreck your self esteem. Yeah, so that's another thing. The likes. You know, the when you and I have a good buddy of mine, Dr. Sue. He's a psychiatrist in New York City. We have to get him on this show. But he was telling me about a study that showed that getting like a lot of virality, comments, and likes on social media, like the lights up, you know, certain areas of your brain. Like that's an addictive feeling. Like that's addictive. You do something online, and you know 5 million people like your photo, right? You're gonna come back the next day and you're gonna do what you have to do to get that same feeling. It's hard to remove yourself away from that. So I definitely think that, you know, it's tougher. I mean, I think it's tougher for everybody, unless like unless you know what's going on. But it can definitely be tough for everybody. Thema says, you know, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with filters here and there. I'm a guy. I use filters. Sometimes I'll go on my IG story or I'll go on Snapchat because they have. I like the Snapchat camera for whatever reason. It hits different, so I might go on the Snapchat camera and use that as a way to take my photo or something like that. So you know, there's nothing wrong with filters, but sometimes you know we can let that kind of get to us. Tiana says, I love my Facebook groups, like my gaming groups. They give me life. The reels are also funny, but I definitely feel like I can create a lot of insecurity because most people tend to always compare their journey to others. Yeah, it's hard to not compare your journey to other people. It's really hard. And even for me, like I'm in the mental health psychiatry space. So like it's only normal for me to like look at other people, you know, other therapists and counselors and nurse practitioners and nurses and psychiatrists and you know, to match myself up with them and say like, what are they doing? Like that's a natural thing, you know. So like that's something that I have to like catch myself and be like, all right, Kojo, like my content is already different. You know, you can't compare yourself to anybody in your space or even out of your space. Like I believe that we should all view ourselves as one of one. You know, like for me, like in my videos, I'm doing skits, I'm doing the little dance back and forth, you know, like nobody's doing that. People are doing their own thing, right? So my dances, people like it. I don't know why, but people like it. So I'm going to keep doing it. And likewise, people have other trends that they've perfected, and that's great because at the end of the day, it really is for the end consumer. Like, how is that person being helped out by that content? You know, Brittany says Snapchat camera is reversed. Why we like it? The Snapchat camera is something else. Janice says, how much should we watch our feeds per week? Ooh, Janice, good question. Good question. Good question, Janice. And I don't think there's any specific time. I mean, there's different days I look into, you know, when people watch social media for this amount of hours, you know, the more you watch it, it increases anxiety and depression. I've seen studies like that. But I definitely think it's important to be mindful of how much time you spend on social media. And even somebody like me, like it's my job. You know, I'm on social media. You know, I do my best to look at like I come on here for the smoke. Like I want to interact with you all. But obviously I realize that like one person, 2 million followers, you can't really juggle all that. You know, so what I do is I do my best to have an extension of me, assistants who will look through things and say, hey, I went through all this stuff and everybody's asking about ADHD or ADHD in women, or a lot of people are asking about borderline personality disorder. How about you make a funny video here, or let's use this funny skit, but let's reverse it. Let's make it educational. Keep it a little bit funny, but that way we can talk about anxiety and trauma or blah blah blah. So I have a team that helps me, that points me in a certain direction to say, okay, if you post this video, you can get to this audience or that audience. I think that would be overwhelming for one person to do. So fortunately, like I'm happy I have that team, but I know that there's no way that one person can do it all. No way one person can do it all. That's way too much. Joshua says you can be addicted. Yeah, Josh, you definitely can. Jamie says, just start following you. Your inspiration is amazing. I'm following our struggles mainly since the pandemic. Jamie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Shout out to the nurses. I think it's probably the hardest time to ever be a nurse. And, it's good to be, if you can, it's good to be vulnerable, Jamie. You say you've been struggling since the pandemic. Obviously, work has been what it is. But I tend to gravitate towards people who talk about their struggles online. Like, you don't have to tell me everything, but if somebody makes a video and they post it here on Facebook Reels or YouTube Shorts or Twitch or Twitter, and they say, hey, for the past 2 weeks, I've been struggling to get out of bed. I haven't been eating. I'm kind of going through it, but I found a good support system. I got a therapist or whatever it is. Just somebody coming out to share that. Like, I know how hard it is to reveal those things about you and put it on the internet. And I'm not saying that you should, but when somebody does that, I have a great amount of respect for that person, because it's not easy to be that transparent and vulnerable. And it's easy to just post everything, or everything that's good. Post all the highlights, post all the, and out here in LA, I think Los Angeles is its own different world. I think LA is a different world outside of the US. Like, we're in the US, but it makes it, LA is very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say toxic, because obviously I'm here and I feel like I'm doing well, but it's very kind of, there's a sense of perfection that you feel like you have to have in Los Angeles. And I feel that feeling is palpable. Like, it's out there. So, it is what it is, but you have to, you really have to watch yourself and make sure that you're not, getting sucked up into that. Let me see. Christine, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I enjoy doing these videos for you all. And like I told y'all before, when you have ADHD and you enjoy doing something, it's not that difficult. So this show is not difficult for me. I promise y'all it's not difficult. Like, I'm coming out here and I'm just talking. Like, it's not difficult. What's hard for me is like organizing things and tax season and the phone calls after, all that stuff is, but I still have to do it, right, as an adult. But the fact that you all allow me to come on here and do this for y'all multiple times a week, I really do appreciate that. Wonder if you help. Yes, Jody. So remember how I told you all that social media can be overwhelming and it's hard to figure out what people want. Because look, I make the content for y'all. I say that all the time on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook. I make the content for you all. Like, if you're watching right now, you must be invested into my content some way, somehow. So for the 155 people on Facebook watching, like, I made the content for you all. And whoever watches this on the back end, I'm making it for y'all. Because for you to click this video, you could be watching anything right now. You could be on Netflix. You could be, I don't know, you could be at the gym. I don't know, but for you all to watch right now means that you're invested in something that I'm doing. So I make the content for you all. So I want to answer you all's questions and comments, but I want to make it relatable, funny, exciting. And my assistants actually flagged that, like, tips for parents with children who have ADHD. That's definitely a focal point that I want to get to. I got some skits that I think I can run with that. I got like a little afro for the dad, right? So I can play the dad's part. And sometimes people like to put like a little towel to play the mom's part and some glasses. I've done that before. It looks wacky, but you all will get the point. But yes, I definitely think that help parenting for kids with ADHD, especially for parents who don't have ADHD. Jody, I like that. I definitely like that. And I am mindful of that. And Dan says, you have a team. Yeah, I definitely have a team. I have a team. It's not just me. Somebody the other day asked me, or I think it was on at the end of yesterday's live. They're like, I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're doing good too. And I am doing good, but I just like hearing when people say that, because it makes me realize that, like, people do care about the person behind the content. So that feels really good. You all just checking in on me. I like hearing that. But I definitely have a team. My family, super close to them. I think that's important. I don't have a therapist. I did get a psychiatrist to help me with my ADHD recently. My assistants have at least 4 full-time assistants, super helpful. I have a publicist that's helpful. He helps me make sure that I don't, go running my mouth online and start talking about some shit that I don't know and get in trouble. Uh, who else? Close friends, they give me ideas all the time. Uh, just my housekeeper, you cannot forget her. My housekeeper is a huge part of my team. So these are things that allow me to come on social media and post this content. Because like I said, it's not like what I do. I don't think what I do is normal. Like it's not normal for. I mean, I hope that you all keep following and I get more and more followers, but I don't think it's normal for one guy to have 2 million followers and like interact with them on a consistent basis, like day in, day out, and know what they're talking about, because how do you size up all that? So having a team of people to pick up trends, like tips for parents who have kids with ADHD, like that's something that we've already picked up, to pick up on that stuff, and you have to be all in, like it's a business for me. I have to pay employees, sometimes give bonuses, incentivize them so that they can keep finding these different things, because I can't clone myself. I mean, if I could, I would, but I could not clone myself at all. Paige saying, "I'd love to see your insight on parents who are trying to heal from their own mental health struggles while also having a child with struggles with ADHD." Paige, I like that as well, and I want to get into the parent and child dynamic a lot. And we're talking about social media. I appreciate the fact that like this community on Facebook is very interesting for me, and that's why once again I tell y'all, social media for me in the grand scheme of things is good because I'm doing this as a creator. If I did not create content, I do not know if I would. Wow, I don't know if I would even be on like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Maybe I'd have a channel to watch, but if I did not create content, I would not be on social media like this. Because I don't know, I don't think it'd be healthy for me. But because I make content, I'm always on social media learning about these different things. But speaking about that, like tips for parents, who are trying to get over their own mental health struggles. I love having followers on different platforms because I know that on Facebook, the community tends to be a little older. On TikTok, tends to be much younger. So if I post the same video to both platforms, now I'm using social media for good. I can get to the parents. I can get to the kids. And not say that there aren't adults on TikTok. There are, and I can't see like the ages of the people that follow me on TikTok, but I would have to guess that it's between like maybe 12 to 20 is probably like my biggest demographic on like TikTok. Whereas on Facebook, I know that it's women 25 to 34. That's like my biggest demographic, right? So knowing that, I asked my team, I'm like, women who are 25 to 34, well, what do they want to see? When it comes to mental health, like what are they? What would a woman in that age range be thinking about? So we come up with the plans and then we post the content. So I think it's important to be mindful. Define older. I'm not trying to say anybody's old. I'm not trying to say anybody's old. Please, let's just play dice here. Your lighthearted info on women ADHD was so validating. Kimberly, once again, that's a great example of like catching like trends. And my assistant reminded me, and once again, thank God for my assistant. Like that, he's such a big part of my life, a big part of my family. He was like, "Hey, women want to know about women with ADHD." So you do a little video, where you do the little dance, the feet, this, and put the caption over, boom, put it out there, and it might help. That might be the thing that gets somebody to go get an appointment, right? So now now check this out. Keep in mind, see how I talk about building a system. So I want y'all to know that even as a creator, social media can be bad for you if you don't have a team. At some point, you need a team. I'm not sure when, but when you start to get millions of followers, you need a team. Because like I said, my team will say, "Hey, Coach, I'm looking at your content. Let's post more about women with ADHD because that's what they want to see. And they're leaving comments that indicate that it's helpful. So I literally read an email or the daily report from my assistant. He'll tell me to do that, right? I go on TikTok, I take my phone, I get the sound, right? See, my assistant even texted me right now. I take the sound and I put it up there, and then I put my phone there so I can start dancing. I walk into the frame, tap like this, get out, put the caption on. That whole process might take me maybe 10 minutes of making the video, right? And I can put this video out and I can go to the gym and take a break from social media until 6 o'clock California time, until it's time to get back on the show. And I think that's an efficient way to use social media, right? Instead of just scrolling, having to do this scrolling my life away. That's when, you're isolating yourself. You might start to compare. The depression, anxiety can get worse. So I think you have to have a plan on how to do social media. And people are asking about something about if I'm taking patients on. I mentioned it one time before. I never had an office. It was all virtual, and I actually downsized. Now I'm just seeing patients in conjunction with a practice in Virginia. But I had to downsize with my patient load because once again, I saw that social media was getting to the point where I could not do this and do that at the same time. And shout out to my team. Like, they'll let me know, okay, you're really booked this time. You might want to consider dropping a few things, but without that, I would not know. So I would just be going, posting, taking on patients, blah, blah. So like now I know that I cannot, like my days of seeing patients are probably numbered. I hate to say that, but like I'm seeing patients in Virginia now. I'll be able to see them for a long time because I got a good caseload and I enjoy seeing them. And I'm benefited from seeing patients from just the routine that you have to have. You cannot miss a patient appointment. And the fact that forces me to get my ass up every day at 4:35 a.m. and go to the gym before I can see a patient, that right there, it gets my day going. So this is very helpful for me. But I mean, I do realize that I won't be able to see as many people as I thought I'd be able to see, but that's because of my team. And you have to know that if you're doing this and social media is difficult. Like doing it as a creator, we have to talk about creator mental health at some point because I feel like you put yourself at a higher risk for depression and anxiety if you're in this social media rat race. It's a weird world. Like Keisha says, she got the same color phone. I think this is the iPhone 13. Again, here you see, and this is I guess royal blue. I guess I'm not sure. I guess. Have we ever used Hootsuite? Dana, we have used that before. It helps you like schedule things out. I've definitely used that before. Carolina, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Content creation is time consuming and exhausting on any platform. It's good to hear that you have a team that works well with you. It's also good to hear that you're taking care of yourself. It's easy to get drained. Ariana, yes, it is easy to get drained. And there's nothing wrong with getting, drained from time to time. It means you're probably passionate. Maybe you push yourself a little too hard, So you can just learn how to put some better boundaries up. But you need it. I'm telling you all, like, you need a team to do this. There's no way to do this with longevity without a team. You can easily fall into that trap where you go from creator to a creator who's becoming more of a consumer, then you're a consumer. Nothing's wrong with consuming, but the reels I put out, right? 7 to 8 seconds. If I put out a skit, 15 to 20, right? Like you can binge my content and spend hours on it, like boom, 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 boom. So it's important to realize that on both sides, we have to take breaks. Augusta, Georgia. Oh, shout out to Augusta, Georgia. Shout out to my team. I love my team. I love my team. And you can't ever change live. Dana, I love this live show. Like I love the live show and the using StreamYard. It makes it easy for me to do this live show. It is not. This is probably one of the more enjoyable things I get to do every day because it's like seamless and it doesn't involve a lot of like, like attention to like specific details. Obviously, I don't want to mess up and say that wrong thing all live because then the whole world sees it is saved, and like that's not something that we want. But I really enjoyed this live format. Brett says, I was almost asked what gray haired men do. Um, I have to gain wisdom. I'm amazing. Brett, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me, reading that comment. And I think we can learn from everybody. And I learned so much from the people around me. Like I learned some of my best content has come from watching like my friends who are 18 and 19 and they're making content and they have tons of followers. I'm always asking them like, what made somebody connect with your content? Like, why do you think that did so well? And I think that there's a disconnect right now with the providers, and then there's this disconnect between the providers and patients, and I can tell by some of the questions that people ask me. People don't feel comfortable talking to the therapists and counselors and doctors, so that's why it's good to have a platform like this, and that's where social media can be helpful, right? You can just sometimes you just want to be heard. You don't really want an answer. You just want to be heard. I enjoy your life. Dane, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. And it's a good way to connect with like actual people. I like this live format better than like the podcast I was doing. And I still gonna finish releasing the episodes of the podcast I had. We're still in the middle of season 1, but the podcast is heavily edited. It's kind of perfect. My cameras are expensive and all that stuff. But this is more, not say this is ghetto. I think this setup looks nice, but this is like, I don't know, like it's just like seamless. Like StreamYard, shout out to StreamYard. They just make it easy. I can blast this on Facebook, IG, well not IG, but Facebook is IG, Meta, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. So I love this. It's just so seamless. I love this format. Christina says, any advice for people dealing with seasonal depression right now? So it's off topic, but I'll talk about it. For seasonal depression, if you can get to a professional, I would recommend that. But sometimes what we do is we recommend, obviously, antidepressants can be helpful. I think Wellbutrin has an indication for seasonal depression or seasonal affective disorder, and but sometimes we use bright light therapy. Like you cannot underestimate the importance of light. Like just having light. Like I have this light right here, which is shining down on me. If the show was done in the daytime, I wouldn't need the light. But here it gets dark in my room. But I mean, I'm in LA, so I have a lot of light here. But still, it gets dark here at night. I got one light. Actually, I have one light here. I got another light right there. And I got another light shining on me. I like to be in light. I like to work in light. So light can be therapeutic for somebody's mental health. Yeah, vitamin D, Dana, I see. Joe, yes, I'm telling people, mental health for content creators is like people don't understand. Like think about it. Why are a lot of us struggling in a pandemic, right? Because we're living in uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know next week there might be another variant coming out, right? Or we might do well and get to Christmas, and then we're excited to hang out with our families, and then the Stone Cold Steve Austin variant comes up and then knocks us out, and then we can't spend Christmas with our families again, right? I don't know what's going to happen. I just sit back and I pray. I hope things go well. I listen to the experts. I do what recommended. I get my shots, and I just, I do my best to stay safe. But we don't know what's going to happen, and the uncertainty makes it difficult for us to live our lives. So as a content creator, when you're in that space, it's uncertain. Like before I quit my job when I was in Virginia, I knew what money I made every 2 weeks, right? I knew that I got to save a good chunk of it because I didn't have any kids. I wasn't married, so like I was comfortable more or less. So I could just keep working that job and just keep saving money. These are all good things. Like these are all good things. But as a content creator, when I moved to California, I don't think I made a penny for like 4 months, but I prepared for it. I had saved money, and, I went all in on the content, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep cracking away at this, and hopefully something will work, and obviously I have a professional medical degree I can fall back on, but I didn't make a pay for 4 months, but I was the happiest I'd ever been because I just got to take a break. And that was good because making content is its own thing. It's not easy to make content, So for content creators who live in uncertainty, there's no guaranteed paycheck, right? And you're hoping that these platforms pay you. That's a whole other conversation. But you hope that they recognize your worth as a creator. But I think it's very difficult. And also, as a content creator, sometimes you don't have a routine. Like I told you all, seeing patients for me, it's so beneficial. Obviously, like I see patients because I want to help, but seeing patients helps me out too. Like I said, it forces me to get up at a certain time. And when I first moved to California, I had no routine. Sometimes I would sleep at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 10 p.m., 4 a.m. I could do anything, like I felt like I was in college again. And as long as I woke up in the daytime and I made my content, people would love it online. People would share it. It would get hundreds of thousands of views, but it wasn't healthy to not have a routine. That's not healthy at all. You routines will save your life. You definitely want a routine. Kat, I appreciate that. You've made a difference in how I view mental care providers overall. So thank you. Kat, I love hearing those comments because it lets me know that I am using my social media for good, right? And I don't want to even talk about other people who the general public will think that they're not using the social media for good. Like they do what they have to do, but I feel like I'm helping people be more comfortable to go get help, to ask some of these questions, because I feel like at some point, and I've definitely passed that point, but at some point, when you have a large audience, you have a responsibility you can't be reckless with what you say, right? I can have a bad day because I'm human, but you can't just have a bad day and just start, spitting off at the mouth and start talking reckless online, because it's kids that watch me, and look up to me, or just people that look up to me and they respect the information that I put out. So you can't just be talking reckless. You have to be mindful of the things that you do say. Will you ever do a show about ADHD? As I have a question on topic. Joe, where have you been? Mickey Ficky, I've done a million shows, not a million, but I've done so many shows about ADHD. And tomorrow's guest, tomorrow's guest, oh, did I hit the wrong trash can? Tomorrow's guest is going to be a good friend of mine, and he's gonna come on tomorrow, and we're gonna talk about ADHD. It's a very, very special show tomorrow. Actually, I'm excited about it. And the topics on this show, on my live show, right, Monday through Thursday, it's gonna vary from day to day. But tomorrow's guest is a very good friend of mine. I'm so excited to have him on. His name is Chris. His other nickname is P-Town, right? That's his name. But he was recently diagnosed with ADHD, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to get very transparent, and we're going to talk about ADHD from his perspective, like what made him want to seek a diagnosis. How has his life gotten better since he got a diagnosis? How is he more aware of certain things? We're going to talk about it. And this is somebody that I met. I'm going to call him Chris because you all don't know who P-Town is, but I'm going to call him Chris. But I met him through mutual friends, right? We're all doing social media, right? I met him through mutual friends. We're all doing social media, and probably he saw my ADHD content, and he must have thought to himself, maybe I'm a little disorganized. Maybe I do this. I'm guessing because I don't know. He'll speak for himself. But he probably saw my content, and he started to think about, oh, I might be struggling with this, that, and the third. So I'm grateful that, once again, I'm telling you all, for me, social media is a wonderful thing. But as I spoke about earlier in this show, we have to be mindful of certain things, but back to Chris, we linked up, and he's part of my friend group here. He and a couple of other guys have come from Arizona. They've hung out at my house, so I got a call from him one day, and he was asking me, because at that time I was seeing people in Arizona. He was like, hey, can you check me out for ADHD? And we'll talk about this tomorrow a little bit more in depth. But, I was tempted to do it, but we're actual real life friends. He's part of the guys, the homies. So I thought about it. And then after thinking about it for a little bit, I said, you know what? I don't think I'll be the best provider for you, because I don't think I can make an objective, assessment, and diagnose you, because we're actual friends, so you have to have those boundaries. So I let him know, and then I referred him to my friend in Arizona, Dr. Devin, who's a fantastic psychiatrist and an even better person. So he went that way. He got his diagnosis, and he thanked me for it. He said, "Oh, thank you so much for allowing me to know about how this stuff works." So sometimes social media leads to real life friends who you're able to help out, and I believe that an ADHD diagnosis is life changing, because the help that you get on the back end after that will completely change your life. So I'm happy that I was able to help out, and it's gonna be good having him on tomorrow so he can tell his own story. Because on this channel we'll have professionals, on here, like we had yesterday, Dr. Judith. We'll have professionals, but then we'll also have just people who have had lived experiences. I want them to come out here and talk about their struggles and what they've done that's been helpful, because that can help out a lot of people. Help out a lot of people. Jessica from Tucson. What's up, Jessica? How you doing? What time will the show be on tomorrow? So Jody, will it be on Facebook? It will be on Facebook, but I'm happy that you asked me what time the show will be on, because tomorrow's show is actually going to be like this show is called Late Night with Dr. Kojo, but it's not going to be at night, because I actually have like a little movie premiere to attend to. There's a documentary that I'm going to be featured in. It's going to be on Discovery Plus. So there's going to be a premiere in Hollywood that I'm going to go to, because obviously I'm part of the documentary. So I'm excited to go to that premiere, and I have to be there on time, because knowing my ass, I'll show up late. So I went to the store to go get my tux today and all that stuff. So I'll be cleaning it and all that. But tomorrow's show won't be at it will not be at the normal time. It will most likely be either like in the middle of the day, or it'll be like much later. And I know you all like the live format, but if it's much later, then it's super late at night, and people can still watch it after the fact. But I'm gonna talk with Chris after the show and figure out the time, and I will post on my Facebook page and let you all know what time that show will be, because it's a very important show. I've never actually done a show where I've spoken to somebody who's given their own story about their ADHD diagnosis, right? I'm not talking about like a professional. I'm talking about just a regular person, like my friend. I mean, and he's a content creator. He has over, I think, 100,000 followers on TikTok. So, when I say regular person, I mean like a non-professional. But I think it's gonna be beautiful for you all to hear his story, and then maybe you might identify with it and be like, oh damn, like I thought about that, or like I thought about this. And for him to like lay out the steps of how you go about getting help. And I know not everybody who thinks about getting a diagnosis or getting help, not everybody is like friends with Dr. Kojo to where you can just text me and like obviously he texted me and he asked me, and I laid out the steps, like boom, boom, boom. I could do it, but we're friends, so I'm gonna refer you to my guy. And then obviously I called up Dr. Devin. I said, hey, I'm sending a friend to you. So for him, it was probably easier than the average person. But still, I think him sharing his story is going to be super helpful. Jessica, yes. So y'all are excited. I will definitely let you all know the time for that, because, like I said, you can watch it after the fact. But I want y'all to watch it live. Like I like the live interaction, and that way when y'all have questions as well, not only can I answer your questions, but I want Chris to answer you all's questions. Because he's talking from his perspective, and maybe you can connect with him on that. So that's going to be super, super exciting. Susan, thank you so much. I'm excited for the premiere. I didn't even know that there was going to be a premiere for the documentary. And whenever it comes out on TV, I'll let you all know so y'all can turn your TVs and watch it. But yeah, I'm a little nervous because I did not get to see the post-production. They just came to my house and they filmed it, and I was just waiting. To see what it looks like. So I'm excited to see. Do I look okay on camera? I don't know. We're just gonna have to find out. Brianna says, "You look tired. Are you?" I'm not tired, but let me tell you something funny that happens when I go live. When I go live, normally in my routine, I will go live on TikTok and I'll show my TikTok followers, all right, y'all get ready with me. I'm going live on Facebook. And what I do is I wash my face. I put lotion on my face, Jergens. That's my skincare routine. If y'all are curious, wash my face. I put lotion on there, and then after I wash my hair too, I put the vitamin E oil in there, and I put the little spray, and I scrub it around. And by doing that, it makes me look more awake. I've realized that because somebody commented one time, "You look tired." I'm not tired. I just didn't wash my face before I hop on this live because I came back from the store to get my tuxedo. Yes, it's coming out on TV. I thought I posted about it a little bit on. I did post about it on Facebook, but let me show y'all right here. Maybe it will show on my phone. Let's give it a shot. All right, I got privacy screen here, but let's see if y'all can see it. All right, so right here, you don't see it. Right here, there we go. All right. All right, so it's called Profile the Black Man. It's like a 4-part docuseries. Executive producer, I can't talk, is Tina Knowles Lawson. That's Beyonce's mom. And it debuts on Discovery Plus February 12th. So that's when the first episode comes out. So I get to meet Beyonce's mom tomorrow. That's super cool. That's super cool. Missy says, when's the live? Missy, which live are you talking about? Are you talking about the live where I'm going to be bringing on a friend to talk about his process on how he got diagnosed? Or are you talking about the documentary? Sid says, oop, I'm a subscription user, not a cable gal. So Sid, let me tell you this, this is how God works. So I don't have cable myself, right? I don't have cable. I don't have TV. So because aside from sports, I don't watch TV, right? So I just have like Hulu Plus. But I saw that that channel was added to Hulu, so it looks like I'll be able to watch it on Hulu when it comes out. So that should be pretty exciting. I have to double check, but if I'm not able to watch it, I'll go to a friend's house and whoever has cable, and then we'll watch the documentary and maybe do like a little hosting party or something like that. But obviously, I'll get to watch it, at the premiere tomorrow before it comes out on TV. But still, like I want to watch it when it comes out for y'all. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that. So you got Hulu? Okay, yeah. All right. So if I have Hulu too, so if it's a Hulu, then we're both in luck. Outside of that, I mean, I hope it's on like maybe streaming services, but I mean, all I have is I haven't had cable in years. I don't watch. I mean, I stopped watching Cartoon Network when I was like 7. Well, gosh. Let me see. With your friend. So Missy, yes, the live with my friend Chris when he talks about his diagnosis story. I'm not sure the exact time because I'm gonna check it with him and confirm. I would like to have it as like a special in the middle of the day. Like that's what I would love. Like a special where like, I know it's late night with Dr. Kojo, but it'll be like an afternoon, like special episode where we talk about it. So I would love that. I have to see if he's working tomorrow. I don't have any patience. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday? Yeah. I don't have any patience tomorrow. It's like I'm shooting and recording a couple of videos in the morning, going to the gym. But I will definitely let you all know. So you all, if you're not following my Facebook page, regardless of what platform you're watching this on, please follow my Facebook page because I want y'all to be able to get the updates on when I go live with Chris tomorrow. This is a very, I mean, all my lives are important. Today's live is important. Yesterday's with Dr. Judith, that was important. But this, like, I really want y'all to watch this live because it's coming from somebody with lived experiences, and he got diagnosed late in life. He's in his, maybe he's 26. So like I want to like dig deep into like, how are you as a kid? How are you, in high school, college? Like what type of challenges have you had? And hopefully some of y'all will be able to connect with that, and it should be helpful. I would love to catch it live. Missy, thank you so much. I hope we can make that happen too, because I would love to get your feedback as we're going live. If you'd like to watch, what should we search on the web? Dana, uh, I don't know. I really do not know, Dana, but I'll let y'all know because obviously I think this is my TV debut. I think I'm not sure. Yeah, yeah, this is my TV debut in terms of a documentary. Yeah, so this is pretty big. So I'm gonna watch it some way somehow. So I don't have cable at home. If I can't watch on Hulu, I will figure out how to get Discovery Plus and how to watch it, and I'll definitely let you all know because I want to see everybody's reaction to the documentary. Did you like it? Did you not like it? So I really want to see you all react to it. Uh, Claudia, sorry to hear that your dog passed away. I'm super attached to my dog. That would suck if something happened to my dog. Most beautiful mouth. Appreciate that. You're never too. Oh, Nikki, nothing wrong with cartoons. You're never too old for cartoons. I'm just saying that as a kid, I was watching a lot of Cartoon Network and things like that. But I don't watch TV. Like social media is like what I do, and I just don't watch TV like that. But for sports, I'll watch. So I paid Hulu for sports because I can't really live without my sports. You can use mine if you watch it live. Kat, thanks for the invite. I appreciate that. Henry, I'm doing good. So people saying definitely Discovery Plus and possibly Hulu. Yeah, I definitely think that it should be a Hulu. I think, but we'll find out. We'll find out very soon. Clyde says, have you thought about getting involved in some activities that you enjoy? Something that gives you a sense of fulfillment, hobby, volunteering, school. Yeah, so I feel like I get that right now. Like social media is like it started off as a hobby, it's turned into a business, because the platform got large. I have to hire people to help me out. But I do get enjoyment from this. That's important. I get enjoyment from working out. I get enjoyment from hanging out with friends. I get enjoyment from hobbies like basketball. I'm always working on my handles. I get enjoyment from traveling. So that's something that I enjoy doing as well. I don't travel as much as I used to pre-pandemic. I think all of us, the majority of us, can identify with that. But I definitely enjoy traveling and getting up with friends. And I don't get to spend that much time with friends because like we're working out here. We're working towards our goal. We're growing our platform. But when I do hang out with friends, I'm hanging out with friends, if that makes sense. And I know that I got a trip to Boston coming up. I'll be able to catch a Celtics game. One of my good buddies that I went to school with, undergrad, he'll be out there with his family. So I haven't seen him in maybe like 6-7 years. So that's going to be exciting. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I know I have to be in New York sometime soon. So those things are things that you want to do. And I don't care how passionate you are. Like, you can be the most passionate person about social media and this and the third. You still got to take a break and take time for yourself because it's just not healthy to like do one thing over and over and over without pausing. You definitely have to pause. As someone with a late night diagnosis, I'm definitely going to be listening in. Jessica, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you for sharing as well that you had a late in life diagnosis. I also am in the same category. So I have to give you a love of the show. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think for people who have had, not to get too much into tomorrow's topic, but for people who have had like a late in life diagnosis, sometimes you ask yourself, you're like, damn, like if I had got this help when I was in fifth grade, maybe I would have been struggling in school. Maybe kids wouldn't have made fun of me and bullied me. Maybe I would have done well in high school and maybe I would have gotten like a scholarship to like a top university. That way I wouldn't have to take out loans. Like I'm using my experience, right? Or maybe I wouldn't have struggled in relationships, right? Or so like those type of things, those are thoughts that you might have after you have a late in life diagnosis. So I'm gonna be very I'm grateful now that Chris has decided to come on so he could talk about his experience with you all because he's gonna be he tells the truth. I like people who tell the truth. He's gonna shoot straight from the hip and talk about like his experience and what's like how life is now for him. Late life diagnosis, no time for what ifs. Dana, I agree with that. But Dana, hear me out. I think I'm not a fan of like you can't cry over spilled milk, right? But you still want to like validate somebody who's sitting there thinking like, damn, like man, if I only got this help in the 11th grade, like you have to give people time to like really accept what's going on, and I think like when I was coming up, when I was a young jit in school, like nobody talked about this type of stuff, right? But I think for those of us with ADHD, social media, pros and cons, but there's a growing space here in social media for people with ADHD, and I think it's very positive. It's extremely validating, So if you use social media correctly, it can be toxic or it can be helpful. But for those of you all with ADHD who have been like, invalidated your whole life, you haven't had a safe space, you felt like you were out of place, you felt like you were oddball, you were bullied, you were put down. If you can log online and meet like a whole community of people who like think like you and people who just get it, that's extremely validating. I think that's a powerful thing. Being amongst the first diagnosed made a lot, right? And Brett is even saying that um, getting diagnosed early made his life harder. So I've heard that before. That's not uncommon that for people to say that. So I definitely do acknowledge that there's different, there's two sides to a coin. So it's good to hear. It's good to hear perspectives on both ends. Missy says that's exactly how it feels once diagnosed. I was 41. Missy, I appreciate it. And I'm grateful for you all. For allowing me to have this platform. Like it's really like I wish 18-year-old me had this type of thing. Like if I had this when I was 18, like I would log on here every day, and I'd be pestering Dr. Kojo to be like, "When are you going live?" And I'm like, like it would have been helpful for me. But I mean, that's just how my story went. But either way, I think I'm at the point where I've accepted it, and now it's time to get to work. It's time to position myself to do things that I enjoy doing. And with ADHD, man, there's so many topics, there's so many places that we take a conversation. But when you're in a position to do the things that you want to do, with ADHD, it's helpful, right? Because if you enjoy doing something, it's not a chore, right? And like I said with this show, it's not a chore to do it because it's like I like speaking. So this is like, people always ask, like, what's the perfect career for somebody with ADHD? I don't know. But I do know that you kind of want to be in control of what you do. But at the same time, you do need like urgency. You do need rules and regulations and guidelines, or else you won't get certain things done. Brother was diagnosed when he was in his mid-30s. He broke down and cried because it was such a relief and finally realized it was on his head. Don, man, Mickey Ficky. I got goosebumps when you just wrote that because I had a good friend of mine. Damn, I gotta hit him up. It's been a while. I think he moved. He and his wife and kids moved. But man, Don, I have to give you a love of the show for that. I gotta give Don a love of the show for that. So, ooh, I almost my throat. But a good friend of mine, and this is like maybe a year and a half ago. I was posting about ADHD, but I wasn't posting as much about it. But he saw my content and he reached out to me. He said that he was in the same boat. Like he got diagnosed like in his like 30s. This is a grown man, like big dude, big burly dude. He said that when he got diagnosed, like he was like in tears, like he was crying because like imagine like you live your whole life feeling like you're a little weird, like, and you have awareness that like you're not like other people, and that you shouldn't be that way, or like you're thinking that I shouldn't be this way, or I shouldn't be stuck on this one thing, and I like why am I different from people? So when you can connect the dots together, like it's a powerful thing. And just hearing his story once again, the power of social media, because I met him through TikTok, and then we connected. I was on his podcast one time. He's a white guy who's also invested in talking about issues that affect Black people, which really means a lot to me. So once again, social media, like I'm grateful for this, super grateful for this space. What about people who reach out for mental health and health symptoms? But all right, let me answer this question, and then I'm gonna prepare to head out. Probably have to get to the gym because I didn't get to go earlier today. But Kat Von Stewart, let me read this question out one more time. What about people who reach out for mental health and have all the symptoms, but doctors say ADHD is a diagnosis that is generally diagnosed in youth? So, Kat Von Stewart, I don't want to call your whole name out, Kat. Here's the thing. So technically, yes, ADHD. It should have like the signs and symptoms, whatever is affecting you. Some variation of that should have presented before the age of 12, right? According to the DSM, which is like the Bible of psychiatry. But a lot of people did not have the opportunity to get access to healthcare, the proper healthcare and mental health resources for whatever reason. Sometimes people don't have insurance, sometimes people don't have money, sometimes people don't have transportation to get to a doctor's office. And now, like, we have telehealth, right? But back in the day, a lot of barriers were in place for somebody to get the proper diagnosis. So if you slip through the cracks, you're just going to struggle your whole life. And some doctors don't believe that there's such a thing as adult ADHD. But as we know, right, out here, we know, right? We know. So as we know, ADHD doesn't really go away, and if any part of it goes away, it's more so the hyperactive side that tends to kind of fade away. But as people grow older, sometimes the inattentive symptoms tend to really stay. And then you have this concept of adult ADHD. Of course, you can still be hyperactive as an adult, right? But for a lot of people, those inattentive symptoms stay, like the forgetfulness, the spacing out, losing track of time, forgetting things, appointments, forgetting important things, forgetting to pay your bills. And it affects people a lot, and sometimes people don't realize until your relationship is like on the rocks or like you lost money, so it affects a lot of adults. And if you have a provider who says that, if you have a provider who says that it's only for like kids or it doesn't affect adults, you shake their hand and say thank you so much, I appreciate it, and then go find another doctor. Go find somebody else who gets it. Because I'm shocked by how many medical professionals don't think it's a real thing. I'm legit shocked. Like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked by it. So I definitely want to be able to. So many comments in here. So many comments in here. I like when kiddos ADHD, we feel like a lot of drama with the blind leading the blind. Or my son who's 10, he's intelligent, but emotions are in his sleeves. I'm very different from that. Jody, man, Mickey Ficky. Like I said, that Kat's comment was the last comment, and then I started a comment and it caught my attention. Let me talk about that real quick. So, Jody, here's the thing: your son is 10. He has his emotions on his sleeve. So, I think 10 years, probably like in 5th grade or so, right? So he's like a 5th grader or 4th grader. I think self-esteem is something that we should build up in the kids at a young age, right? And that's what I try and do, right? Like I'm not anybody's parent. I don't think I should be a role model. Hopefully I can put out some positive information for y'all, but like I'm not like kids should listen to their parents, right? I'm just here to hopefully put out some positive information. But whatever you can do to boost a child's self-esteem during those formative years, especially when ADHD is involved, is helpful, right? Figuring out what are they good at, and like Dr. Sasha came and said, last week, ADHD is an explanation, it's not an excuse, so like, yes, there's something going on there, but we can work with that to, put him in a position to where his strengths are magnified, right? So for me, like, I happened to hit the lottery because, like I went to school for this, blah, blah, blah. And then I happened to hop on TikTok at the right time, and then my platform blew up, 2 million followers. I happened to go to Instagram and took over. I happened to come on Facebook and people wanted to hear what I had to say. So, I know there's some element of luck, to me having this platform, but sometimes the universe works together in the way that it needs to work together for me to come out here and talk about this and for you all to be on the opposite side get this information. So I'm grateful that I'm in this position, but in this position, I'm able to talk about something that I have lived experience with and something that I've helped people out with. So like, I know a thing or two. I'm not the biggest expert in the world, right? But I know a thing or two that can be helpful to people. So because I get to do this, and I tell myself, all right, we're going live on this show 4 times a week. So it's not a chore to do it. And look, every time I complete something on my to-do list, y'all know how it is. Like you get that dopamine hit. Like you're like, yeah, I feel good. So I say I'm gonna go live Monday through Thursday. I'm gonna do this Facebook show, and we're gonna have fun. Every week after I finish on Thursday, I'm proud of myself because I'm like, okay, I'm consistent. With ADHD, it's hard to be consistent, and I'm actually consistent. I follow through. It makes my self-esteem go up, 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 up. But at the same time, like I said, like I don't mind talking. Like I enjoy doing this type of thing. So it's hard to do something that you don't really enjoy doing. And at some point, you probably will like stop that thing if you don't legitimately enjoy it, or if you're not being incentivized some way somehow. So at that age, I think it's very important to find out what do they enjoy doing. And of course, you can't skip schoolwork. You got to do with schoolwork. But maybe on the back end, is he a talented trombone player? Does he like violin? Does he like playing baseball? But helping people to do things that they're really good at is like another underrated hack with ADHD. I got so many hacks. I'm telling you, I have so many hacks. I got so many video ideas. Man, Mickey Thicky, I don't know where to start. I could go on and on. Mickey Thicky. I got so many ideas for y'all. Sheesh. But damn. Yeah, I gotta oh man. Dana, I appreciate you, but I gotta head off so I can be mindful of time. But this has been fantastic. I will let you all know on Facebook the time that I'm probably gonna hit up Chris after this and figure out when we're gonna hop on live tomorrow. But I can't wait. I can't wait for it. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be awesome, and I'll definitely let you all know the details. So until tomorrow, take care, y'all.